A single brief touch lasting just a few seconds can flood a woman's brain with enough oxytocin to create an emotional connection that lingers for hours. Curious. This isn't romantic fluff. This is hard science. Yet most men have no clue which touches spark that bond and which push her to silently decide she'll never see them again. Today, I'll share 7 powerful touches that can completely shift how she feels. And number 5 is almost unfair in its effect. Here's a truth few will admit. A mature woman doesn't fall for words anymore. Thoughtful compliments, sweet texts, candlelit dinners, all of it has lost its impact. What truly moves her is something primal, touch. But it's not the clumsy, movie-inspired kind. I'm talking about precise, deliberate, psychologically potent touches that convey safety, confidence, tenderness, and desire without a single word. Studies even show strangers can communicate emotions like love and gratitude through brief touches with up to 78% accuracy. That's more effective than most conversations. The difference between men who effortlessly connect with women and those who always get friend-zoned isn't in what they say, it's in how they touch. And a mature woman, one who knows exactly what she wants, responds on a level that younger women rarely do. Before we dive into all 7 touches, there's a warning. 2 of them seem deceptively simple, but dismissing them is a mistake. Mature women have told me these touches make them feel things they cannot explain. And the 7th touch carries a psychological impact so strong that therapists recommend it to couples on the brink of separation. Let's start with the first one, the slow lower back guide. This isn't just polite behavior, it's rooted in science. Placing your hand gently on the small of her back, whether guiding her through a door or through a crowd, stimulates a highly nerve-dense area connected directly to emotional centers in the brain. A slow, warm hand communicates presence and awareness, bypassing logic. Quick or heavy touches fail, but a steady, confident placement triggers a protective bonding response, releasing oxytocin and making her feel safe and calm. For a woman who's spent years carrying her own weight, this gesture can feel more romantic than 100 roses. One woman in her late 40s shared that a simple hand on her back made her feel chosen for the first time in 15 years. The second touch is the two-handed handhold, an underrated but incredibly powerful gesture. Holding hands is common, but this takes it further. You take one of her hands and cover it with both of yours, maybe during a conversation, a quiet moment, or after she shared something vulnerable. This works through bilateral stimulation, a technique therapists use in EMDR therapy to help people process trauma. By engaging both your hands, you send her brain a clear signal. You are fully seen, you are safe here, I am present. For a mature woman, this can be transformative. She has likely been with men who were physically there, but emotionally absent. This touch communicates care, attention, and emotional presence in a way words cannot, quietly dismantling walls she spent years building. It's subtle, yet it conveys a depth of connection that most gestures simply can't match. Most women spend years feeling like people are physically present but mentally elsewhere. Their partner at dinner is scrolling on their phone, thinking about work, or obsessing over fantasy football. When you hold her hand with both of yours, truly meeting her gaze while she speaks, you offer something she may have stopped believing exists: full, undivided attention. That contrast alone is what makes this gesture so powerful. She's used to half-hearted affection, and when she experiences both your hands enveloping hers with warmth and intention, her brain reacts as if saying, "This one is different." For a mature woman, once her mind decides you're exceptional, every other man becomes irrelevant. It's a subtle, quiet way to break through walls built over years of disappointment, showing presence, care, and attention in a way words can't touch. The power isn't loud, it's deeply felt. The third touch catches most women completely off guard, the forehead touch. I'm not talking about a kiss, though we'll cover something similar later. I mean gently pressing your forehead against hers, eyes closed naturally, letting the moment breathe. It may seem intimate for something so simple, but the psychological impact is profound. Dr. Sue Johnson, the founder of emotionally focused therapy, describes these bonding moments as tiny interactions that trigger adult attachment systems, the same way a mother's touch does for an infant. This touch demands vulnerability from both sides. You must slow down, get close, and let your guard down. For a mature woman who has built strong emotional walls, this quiet gesture is a gentle knock on a door she forgot existed. It doesn't pressure or escalate. It simply says, I am right here and nothing else matters. A man who can hold this silence without awkwardness communicates more emotional intelligence than most show in an entire relationship. Touch number 4 is almost unfair in its effect, the back of the neck touch. The nape of the neck is an incredibly sensitive and vulnerable spot, packed with nerve endings and difficult to see or protect, making it uniquely intimate. When a man lightly rests his fingers or palm there, whether sitting beside her or leaning in to share a quiet word, it triggers an immediate mix of arousal and trust. Her brain rapidly assesses safety, comfort, and pleasure. If all align, her body responds instantly. Breathing shifts, pupils dilate, and neurochemicals like dopamine and oxytocin flood in, creating the exact chemistry for romantic attachment. Maturity makes this touch especially potent. A younger woman might miss its significance, but a mature woman instantly recognizes the messages: confidence without force, desire without desperation, familiarity without entitlement. Timing is crucial. This isn't for the first meeting. It works because trust already exists, and a mature woman can sense the difference immediately. The fifth touch, which I warned about earlier, is almost unfair: the thumb stroke. This is where the psychology of touch becomes truly fascinating. It's subtle, intimate, and almost imperceptible at first, yet its effect on a mature woman is profound. This gesture is about precision and intention, using the thumb to trace gentle lines across her hand, arm, or shoulder. It signals attention, care, and awareness on a level that words cannot achieve. Unlike broad or clumsy touches, the thumb stroke communicates thoughtfulness and mindfulness, letting her feel fully seen and appreciated. For a woman who has learned to guard herself from empty gestures, this small, intentional touch can evoke a deep sense of connection and emotional warmth. It's deceptively simple, but incredibly powerful, showing that intimacy doesn't always require grand displays. Sometimes it's the tiniest, most precise touches that leave the strongest imprint. The thumb stroke is all about subtlety and timing. It happens when your hand is already resting on hers, on her hand, arm, shoulder, or knee, and without drawing attention, your thumb slowly glides back and forth over her skin. Gentle, rhythmic, and unannounced, this movement is perfectly in sync with the conversation, never needing to interrupt it. Its power comes from a special type of nerve fiber called C-tactile afferents, which respond to slow, soft touch and link directly to the parts of the brain that process emotional connection. Studies from the University of Gothenburg in Sweden show that this kind of stroking activates the insular cortex, which governs feelings of intimacy and closeness. She may not consciously notice your thumb, but her brain and body absolutely do. For a mature woman who has endured empty or performative gestures, this effortless tenderness communicates care, thoughtfulness, and emotional presence more than any grandiose display ever could. Touch number 6 is the silent pull, a gesture of closeness without words. Whether sitting beside her or standing nearby, you subtly draw her closer, an arm around her shoulder, a hand at her waist, closing the gap without announcing it. This works on the principle of proximity seeking in attachment theory, a natural signal of secure connection. By reducing the physical distance between you, you communicate that her presence is desired simply for being herself. For a mature woman, this can be transformative. Many have spent years feeling that closeness had to be earned, that affection was conditional, a man who simply wants her near, not as a performance, not for his own benefit, but because the space feels wrong, rewrites that story. It reassures her that she is wanted just as she is, and that alone can quietly make her heart open in ways words cannot. The seventh and final touch is the long hold hug, the most psychologically impactful gesture on this list. This isn't a quick squeeze or a casual side hug. It's a full chest-to-chest embrace with both arms, lasting at least 20 seconds. The timing matters because research in psychoneuroendocrinology shows hugs of this duration release oxytocin while reducing cortisol, the stress hormone. This isn't just emotional, it's biological. Her heart rate slows, her blood pressure drops, and her nervous system shifts from fight or flight to a state of rest and emotional openness. Therapists like Dr. John Gottman recommend long hugs as a tool to rebuild trust and intimacy. For a mature woman, this type of embrace is revolutionary. She's endured heartbreak, loss, and betrayal, and has learned to hold herself together. A prolonged, unhurried hug lets her release that constant burden, relax, and experience genuine connection, reminding her she doesn't always have to be the strong one. And that truly is the most profound effect a touch can have. Not to excite her, not to impress her, but to give her relief, to offer her a moment where she doesn't have to hold everything together, where she can simply breathe. A man who can provide that doesn't just inspire fleeting attraction, he becomes someone she chooses deliberately, fully, with every guarded part of herself she's protected for years. You now have the 7 touches, each grounded in neuroscience, psychology, and the lived experience of women who know exactly what genuine connection feels like. The beauty of all of them is they don't require money, status, or perfect timing. They only demand awareness, intention, and the patience to truly be present with the person in front of you. But knowing these touches is only half the battle. A mature woman won't passively wait for you to figure it out. She'll be sending her own subtle, consistent, and unmistakable signals that reveal how she feels. But most men fail to notice. They miss every cue and then wonder why she drifted away.